All right, thanks, Isaiah. I don't wanna. I
Just
wanna
do
hit
it.
that. So folks, we're just gonna do a quick IGA meeting, IGA committee members, and we have everyone except Michelle Clapperton. So we have, Mike Henderson and Lori Lennebar from Board of Elections here. You don't need to say anything, right? Okay, so we just need to very quickly approve something out of our committee. Just a resolution for approving $10,000 in additional printing expenses. I'm just looking for, just if one of our committee members can make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? IGA? Roll call vote?
Marietta.
Yes.
Mickle.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Mendez. Aye. Clapperton, absent.
You're all set. We'll just adjourn IGA. Any motion for that? All right. All set, Isaiah.
County. Otsego County will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026 at 9:55 a.m. at the Otsego County Office Building, second floor, Board Chambers, 197 Main Street, Cooperstown, New York, 13326, for the purpose of hearing public comments on the Otsego County's community development needs and to discuss the possible submission of one or more community development block grants, also known as CDBG, applications for the 2026 program year. The CDBG program is administered by the New York State Office of Community Renewal, also known as OCR, and will make available to eligible local governments approximately $20 million for the 2026 program year for economic development, small business, and microenterprise activities, with a principal purpose of benefiting low to moderate income persons. Otsego County is applying for $300,000 in CDBG funds to implement a microenterprise assistance program. The hearing will provide further information about the CDBG program and will allow the citizen participation in the development of any proposed grant applications and/or to provide technical assistance to develop alternate proposals. Comments on the CDBG program or proposed projects will be received at this time. The hearing is being conducted pursuant to Section 570.486, subpart 1 of CFR, and in compliance with the requirements of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended. The Otsego County Office Building is accessible to persons with disabilities. If special accommodations are needed for persons with disabilities, those with hearing impairments, or those in need of translation from English, those individuals should contact Tammy Harris at 607-547-4225 at least 1 week in advance of the hearing date to allow them for necessary arrangements. Written comments may also be submitted to the Otsego County Planning Department, 197 Main Street, Cooperstown, New York, 13326 until June 8th, 2026.
Is there anyone that'd like to make any comments on the Micro Enterprise Grant? Questions? Leave it open for a minute. Okay, we will close the public hearing. Want to do? Sure.
Now we're gonna, I'm gonna serve this down the old. Would you come up, please?
As is our custom.
On behalf of the board, there's a small gift representing our tremendous appreciation for all the fine work you did the last 22 years.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. Very humbling. I appreciate it, but it was a pleasure and an honor to serve the Otsego County public and to be your prosecutor for so many years. It was a gift from God as far as the career for me. It was the best. It was tailor made for me. I really loved it. And right now the office is in great shape. We have a great new DA coming up. The community will continue to be well served, which also makes me very happy. So thank you again.
Thank you, Doug. Sorry. I'd like to call our Otsego County Board of Representatives, June 3rd, 2026 meeting to order. Roll call of members, please.
Frazier,
Here.
Powers,
Here.
Brockway,
Here.
Hinchey.
Here.
Kennedy, here, Mickle,
Here.
Burliant,
Here.
Marietta.
Here.
McCarty.
Here.
Wilbur.
Here.
Mendez.
Here.
Martini.
Here.
Clapperton.
Here.
Basile.
Here.
Good. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. We enter our privilege of the floor section of our meeting. Anyone who'd like to address the board, come to the podium. You have a 3-minute, identify yourself, your name and address. You have a 3-minute time. Mr. Mayor, you want to-
Name's Eric Van Eunice, 529 State Highway 166, Cooperstown, New York. 6. Prepared a statement. As a former corrections officer, Lieutenant Thomas Fellrat's investigation and arrest really upsets me. With drugs found with the third highest officer in the sheriff's department, the guy who was supposed to keep drugs out of the jail, the guy who was making over $145,000 a year base salary, somewhere in the 70s, the rest in overtime. How did he get away with this? Drugs make a lot of money. Does this go higher? Was anyone paid to look the other way? Not report a sheriff's car going out of county during the workday. Was this routine, just neglect, or something else? The car he was in had a GPS system and a tracker, like all other county issued vehicles. I asked Richard Devlin directly, how did you allow a high ranking officer to go unchecked for so long that he felt comfortable engaging in this type of behavior? I also have a question for the board. Will there be an investigation into not just the sheriff's department payroll as well? It's a lot of overtime. It's a lot of taxpayer dollars just not accounted for.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak today? Need a motion to approve the minutes of May 6th, which are online.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Presentation of petitions, communications, and notices.
I have a summons with notice, Sean Smith against Otsego County Sheriff's Department, Richard Devlin, Anthony Leonardo, Thomas Belrath, and Hale Wellenstein. It's for employment discrimination, and the amount is to be determined by trial, but in no event less than $1.5 million, together with attorney fees and interest.
Good, thank you. So this morning we have a special presentation from the Oneonta Airport Commission. A little history on it. A couple years ago, we were approached, the county was approached about taking over control of the airport. No one felt that was in the best interest of the county. We came together on some negotiations, and if the city wanted any assistance from the county, we insisted that we have a couple of board members on their commission. They changed their bylaws and their charter of the commission, and they have added two of our county that were appointed. One is Rick Brockway, Representative Brockway, who the airport is actually in his district. The other member of the airport commission for the county is our IT director, Isaiah Gibbs, who happens to be a former FAA employee. So he has a lot of insight on airports and how they are run and requirements. Today we have Justin Osterheld, the Airport Commission Chairman, Matt Kent, the FBO. You run the operating on the airport, and you, young man, I'm sorry,
Shane Dable.
And you are
On the commission.
on the commission too. So you have the floor, Justin.
Thanks, Ed. That's a pretty good introduction of history. I was at the airport the other day, and if anybody's been up there, actually I should start with, for those who don't know me, Justin Osterhout, professional pilot and chair of the commission. I was at the airport a couple days ago, and if you go up there, there is some wallpaper with that's done by the Oneonta Historical Society with some history of the airport. It's worth a read. When the airport opened in 1966, one thing that jumped out at me is Mayor Sam Nader called it a dream come true for the community. Now the industry's changed a lot over, since 1966, but I really do think that dream is alive and well today. Ed covered pretty well the new set of faces. I'm in my third year of the Airport Commission. Shane's in his first year. Rick and Isaiah are also in their first year. Another notable thing that we did. Previously, the airport was run completely in-house by the city of Oneonta. A change that I saw necessary was to bring in an outside manager. So through some conversations with Matt Kent of Hawkeye Aviation, the city entered into a management agreement to manage the airport and move the projects forward and really unravel the airport and see what needs to be done operationally. Essentially, the airport was previously managed under a management agreement with Brian Kerpier of Clipper Aviation. That agreement came to an end in about 2011, and since 2011, the city has operated the airport in-house, and the effort that's gone into the airport is minimal. There's a lot of projects that have been tabled, they've been on the back burner, so we're working on moving that forward. So we're working on the projects, we're working on assessing what the operational needs are. A lot of stuff has happened in the past year. The on-premises obstruction removal project is complete. That's completely done. The weather system up there was dated and it needed to be relocated. So that project is now complete. The fuel farm replacement project, which as of last year hadn't even started, where it should be done in about the next month. The off-premises obstruction clearance project, and a lot of people have heard a lot about it. It's a safety sensitive project. It will take time. It's been on the books for about 10 years. We're moving it forward, and the airport commission, the management, and the city leadership is actively engaged with both the airport consultant and the community, the neighbors who own the land where we need to remove the obstacles. There is a parallel taxiway project which is underway. There was a bit of struggle a few years ago to get that project approved. That has now been approved and is moving forward. So that's a lot of projects. And what's really worth mentioning is all of these projects are funded 90% or more from the FAA, and New York State DOT will fund about 5%. So it leaves us with about a 5% local share. In some cases, particularly this year, it's a 2.5% local share, which is certainly notable. On top of that, we're working on a website for the airport to get a lot of information out. We're working on recreational trails for the airport property. The airport itself is 413 acres, just a little over 400 acres. There's some great places for recreational trails. I have a couple meetings next week with the professional flight school. We're working on basing emergency service aircraft at the airport, which will be a benefit to the community, the hospitals, and overall, we're looking to enhance the education and emergency services locally. It's definitely taken a little bit of time to completely sort out all the needs of the airport operation, build a budget. What's kind of happened previously is that 5% or 2.5% local match. Since money hasn't been set aside for it, it's come as somewhat of a surprise to the Oneonta Common Council. So really what we want to do is change that narrative and have some money set aside and really involve the county in that conversation. So it's really the ultimate goal. The county benefits significantly from a functional airport. A lot of the traffic, goes to, Baseball Hall of Fame, Dreams Park, the Opera House, or just the area in general. And in some conversations we've had, we're missing out on probably at least 3/4 of the traffic that would be coming because the airport is lacking some infrastructure. People are forced to go to Rome or to Albany or to Binghamton. So it's something we're working to change. It's a significant undertaking, but it's not tremendous. It's not building an international airport. It's working with what we have and making what we have functional. That's really the goal. So all that said, there are some capital improvement projects coming up, and we've made a lot of progress this year. And so we'd really like to have the county involved as we go forward. So far, any questions from the board?
Anyone have any questions for Justin?
Go ahead.
Number one, thanks for doing all this work. Sure. Spent a lot of time on this. You said we're missing 3/4 of the traffic. Like, to get some of that, how close are we? How far out? Like, what more do we need to do? Is this a 5-year, 10-year? What does the future look like?
That's a really good question. So first, the 3/4, it's hard to quantify exactly, but what we can do is, because it's not specifically tracked, but what we do is we can go to some neighboring airports and have conversations with the personnel at the airport, and they say, oh yeah, so and so landed here, and they were headed to Cooperstown. They tried to get in, but they couldn't because of the weather wasn't good enough. I could go on for a long time about the technicalities of that, but to put it in kind of a nutshell, we need to get some obstructions cleared, and what that does is it allows the airplanes to make the approach. So we need to get that airway clear. We're going to need more pavement. There's a lot of safety measures that are in place for aircraft taking off and landing. It's all very calculated. It's what makes the industry so safe. We can do that really with what we have. We need more pavement. It's going to be a capital improvement. I think 5 years is probably ambitious but reasonable to make some improvements to really start increasing traffic and increasing the utility of our airport. Got anything else on that, Matt?
No, I mean, I came on board because I believe it's something that's right in front of us. I was here last year and spoke, and I believe it's right in front of us. It's something that is an enormous benefit to these areas. My thing is, I say, you know, look at any place that's moving ahead and doing well, and try to find one that's longer than 15 miles away from an airport. You know, airports are a major pipeline for people who want to visit, and we see it up there. The camp started this week. The traffic that comes in, it'll be at 15 cars sitting outside for get rental cars and head downtown. They want to land as close as they can, so the opportunity's there. So I came on board to try to spearhead this and get it corrected. I'm trying to make it happen in 5 years. That's what I want to do. I'm not a kid. I want to get this thing in place so we can kind of take off on its own. A lot of the things that need to be done are internal, things that we can correct kind of right in our wheelhouse that we can take charge of and make it more usable for people. And then there's some parts of the projects that are, you know, a little further out there. Benefit is that the most of this money comes from, you know, the FAA and the state. They put almost all of it in. In my mind, I think we're probably somewhere between 15 and $30 million with investment we're going to have there in the next 5 to 7 years. And the way it normally runs is 95 to 97.5% of that gets funded by either the FAA or the state or a combination. That's an enormous use of your infrastructure that not paying. Question.
I do have a question, and it's a question about the off-site obstruction removal. I know that Justin and I talked about this back earlier in the spring, and I just wondered if you could talk about that, because some area have concerns and the environmental impact of some of those removals. So if you would, are of concern as well. So if you could just speak to those concerns. We talked about it before, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we can kind of fill in the blanks about what I missed here, but in a nutshell, about 10 years ago, the FAA did a survey of the property, and what they found was vegetation penetrating the airspace. So really, all we're talking about is vegetation. We're talking about trees, and you know, we could go into all the geometry of everything, but suffice to say that there's an airway, and think of it as kind of a roadway and a guardrail, right? So you're driving on the roadway, you have a few feet before you get the guardrail. So the trees are kind of, you know, inside the guardrail, so to speak, right? So in 2020, there was a different airport consultant. The city engaged with the airport consultant to begin the process. It got pushed to the back burner. We switched airport consultants. Now we're working with Pastoral Associates. That started last year, about a year ago. And that's when this started getting a lot of attention. Since then, Pastoral has continued to work on their scope of work. Matt could probably speak better to exactly where we're at on that scope of work. One thing that happened above and beyond the scope of work was the city decided to pay for additional aerial imaging, which gives better information. And that's one thing that we ran into, we kind of learned by experience, was the FAA is willing to fund this project. They're going to pay for everything, but they won't do it if they don't have an easement on the property, which makes sense. They don't want to get hung up to dry on this. So when we approach the landowner and say, well, the first step of this process is to get an easement on the property so we can take care of this vegetation, they say, well, what does that entail? And we said, well, we don't know until we do the engineering. Well, once that gets done, we'll have the easement. So we quickly ran into a chicken and egg. And so what we decided to do was to get some aerial imaging data. That imaging data is actively coming in, and the city leadership is engaging directly with the neighboring properties to have a more specific discussion on exactly what it means for everybody's property. And as that happens, then the airport consultant, Pastoral Associates, can continue their scope of work through the appraisal process to put those easements in place and begin the engineering work. Did I miss anything?
No, I mean, this is one of those projects that it can easily have been missed over the years. nowadays with the technology, the LiDAR and the way they do it, the FAA would just occasionally fly over the airports and take an image and they can tell. Years ago, somebody would have to walk down the runway and take a scope and look out through and make sure it was clear. And nowadays it's a lot more straightforward. So these projects kind of were left on the back burner for a little while, and now they're a lot more obvious. And what he was, and this project is also paid for them, 90 to 95%. So all these projects are funded. We just have to do them. And what that particular project does and hurts us, that's an immediate thing that limits, because certain aircraft are, they either go by IFR or VFR, which is visual flight rules, or instrument flight rules. And because we have obstructions in the airway, like you said, picture it like a tree sticking out into I-88. There's warnings that go up, and because we have obstacles, then there's limitations on which aircraft can come in cloudy conditions. It's not just rainy conditions; it's cloudy conditions. It limits the use that we have of what we have existing already, not even changing. So these projects need to be done for us to keep going.
100%. Think about how many cloudy days we have.
Yeah.
So what happens if one of the neighbors just refuses? Give the easement? Like,
Well,
what-
these are the uncomfortable conversations that nobody likes to have. And it's one of those things where what we try to do is imprint on everybody that this is serious stuff. No different if somebody came to the county tomorrow and said, you realize there's a tree falling across the exit ramp off of one of the interstates and people are going 70 miles an hour. This is literally, these are life or death issues. But they're not noticeable to the average person. The average person doesn't really understand aviation. They know they're nervous when they're sitting in a plane and they don't know why. They don't like movement. People are nervous flyers, but they're assuming that everybody's stuff is taken care of. No different than us. And we're assuming we drive to California. We're assuming that the local road departments are care of the roads. We're assuming that there's not a wire hanging down across the roads. Well, we have one of the over 5,000 airports in the United States, and the assumption is that we maintain it to a standard that's there so that people coming in can get in safely. If this has to be done. So that's, one of those things where there are things in place. And when we bring those, when you start with that part of the conversation, people of course get upset. Well, what does that mean? Or you take this, or you can do that. And what I'd liken it to is I say, every document basically we get from the government, traffic ticket, a lot of the page, it has a warning. It says, if you don't do this, then it can result in that. Start there. We're told by the FAA to negotiate, try to negotiate with people. This has to be done. They survey it, they appraise it, they offer money for that right to offset any difference in perception of what people think the property might be worth. They pay for all the work. But make no mistake about it, it has to be done. This is a safety issue. This is a dangerous thing that has to be done.
Okay, so if I'm reading between the lines, it's gonna happen one way or another.
It needs to happen.
Okay, but the first attempt is to engage the neighbors.
Correct.
100%.
Who does the appraisal work for compensation?
All this stuff is laid out. I mean, everything in the FAA, like Justin likes to say, is all there somewhere in the book. Everything is drawn out. There's really nothing that's random. They have a process. You have to engage on. There's only a certain amount of appraisers in the country that have the right certifications. So you have to get the right person with the right qualifications. They do an appraisal, then they appraise the current value. They appraise any value that will be offset by this change. And then once they've done all that work, then they get a backup appraiser that comes in and goes through that work and verifies whether that work was acceptable as well. They offer to meet with the landowner to talk to them, see if they have any more input or insight that they want to have. The idea is, we're told in meetings, the idea is to try to work with people the best way you can, offset fears, do the best you can to do this. But it needs to be done. That's the message. But the guidelines are really rigid. There's nothing like that we can make up as we go along.
Yeah.
That's
Justin,
why
you
it's
had,
handled by an outside agency.
The point being, aircraft have changed over the years. We used to just have Piper Cubs up there. Now we have jets coming in. How many? 7, 8, 10 a week just for the ballpark.
Just for the ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we always think about rainy days, snowy days, all the days that are affecting us, but cloudy days affect us because of construction. We lose We'll sit there some days and watch it go overhead, but cloud cover is not like perfect and the limitations are there. All of a sudden it pops up diverted and that plane now has to. All of us are the same way. If we have plans and we plan on going to a destination and we have a car there, we're all ready to go, and at the last minute, we have to go 70 miles away. That's not fun thing.
So after all the grants are gone and all this infrastructure is built, taken care of, airports cost money. Where revenue source beyond landing fees and fuel sales?
Hangar rent is a big one, and hangar rent more than
So,
half of the.
yeah, the goal of the FAA and the state in these projects is to try to make the communities as whole as possible throughout this process, so that they're sort of close to self-sustaining. I don't think they ever say like they're gonna be 100% self-sustaining, but they're trying to make them close to self-sustaining. So we get hangar rents, they give grants to build hangars, so the state pays for you to build a hangar, and then you have it to rent that hangar out. Or you can do land leases to private individuals.
So have you identified those that are gonna want to rent the hangar?
Yeah, so right now the hangars that are there are 100% rented. We're gonna need more hangars. We have a waiting list. We also have developed a land lease for any local business that wants to build a hangar, and we have some conversations that are
We've been
ongoing.
approached by individuals to build hangars. We've also been approached in the past. One obstacle that's been there is that they weren't ready. It's like any other commercial development. You need, when they say it's shovel ready or something ready to go, the average person who approaches about something like that doesn't want you to say, well, maybe in a year or two will be ready for you. So we've tried to take steps, got a land lease prepared, trying to get space authorized. You have to go through the process with the FAA as well about which spaces are okay to do a hangar lease. All these things are fairly well controlled to try to be ready when people want to do something. And we are in conversations with several individuals right now.
Something just to mention with, I talked about the funding, the 90% FAA and 5%, from the state, which is a good deal. Of course, it comes with strings, and the strings are that you have to maintain the airport within standards, which is what makes our aviation system so safe.
Grants for ownership.
Right.
Bingo. And also with the funds too. Any money collected by the airport. Now there's local taxes on the fuel and things like that, but anything that is collected by the airport in the form of land leases, hangar rent, land leases, hangar rent, fuel flowage fees, as well as landing fees, things of that nature, all have to stay in the airport, right? So, as Matt said, the goal is to make it as close to self-sustaining as possible.
Justin, you had some pamphlets with informational packets for everyone?
Anybody have any questions before we wrap it up?
Just one last thing. So with regards to clearing the trees that are in the fairway, fully understand that they need to be gone. But there's other alternate approaches to how it happens. So if we can use technology and maybe add expense to do like a targeted cut on the taller trees rather than just like a clear cut of everything, I just would hope that would be the plan that you would take.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ms. Mack.
So the two things we look at in that is the goal of the FAA is to come in and make a project so that it can be maintained and kept in the correct condition going forward. There are occasions where people say, well, can you top a tree? Now, my background is I own a timber company. I'm in the timber business, so I'm very familiar with the timber side of the argument. And most people picture a tree. If you picture a tree like on a lawn, a tree out in the open will bush out and kind of grow like a big, beautiful thing. And you'll see sometimes the power company will come along and take a little bit out of the top of the tree, and it might look a little bit stunted or it looks like there's something wrong with it, but it's still okay. They can leave it like that. Get into more dense trees. Dense trees tend to grow tall and thin and then have a top very way at the top. That's why you log in the woods, because you have a long stem and then a bushy top. They're competing for daylight. So if you remove a rounding tree, there's not much on the bottom of that tree. So if you try to cut the top 20 feet off of a woods tree, you would just end up with a stick. There's nothing there. There's nothing below there that's growing. And so when you get into a woods environment, it's not really a viable alternative. When the neighbor on the current project we just did, they originally had asked us if we could tops of trees that were bordering their property to leave a little bit of an edge. And the contractor said, that's fine. So they came in there and they had to survey and mark it, and they started cutting them. And they realized just that after the first day, that all they had left was some sticks standing up next to them. So then they came into our, the next day and said, can you please just cut them all the way down? I don't want those dead poles standing there.
So with regards to then, well, let's talk about replanting in neighborhoods, like people who have properties up there have told us they treasure the woods that they built their home in, and now to have it be clear cut, that would clear, not woods anymore.
First off,
But
is there
anyway,
any potential for clear cutting?
well, that's a good question.
Is there any what?
Potential for clear cutting?
Well, certain areas, there are some areas where it's gonna be, you know, it will be pretty close to that, just
Okay.
because there's so much density of vegetation that
Okay.
comes up through that area.
But to help replant with trees that don't attain those higher heights.
Right, so what the city is even just
And I don't,
worked on that, is to come up with an alternate fund to help do the replanting. In certain areas, the line that has to be protected might be 40 feet up in the air. But unfortunately, the trees now are 60 feet. So it's not like it can't be a tree area or it can't have trees. It just can't have what grew there before.
Super
Our
tall.
hemlocks and our natural vegetation that grew there get to be very tall. That's why this has become a problem. So that's one thing the mayor is advocating for. The FAA's procedure is they do not pay for that replanting. They cut it and they make it nice, but they won't replant them. So the current mayor wants to have that kind of a fund to say, hey, we will help you restore this to something beautiful.
Yeah, and the bottom line, that all becomes part of the negotiation with the landowners, because we say, well, you know, we have this, you know, kind of imaginary line that goes through the air. And that's the guardrail in the airway that it has to be clear above that. But if we could plant something below that, and then it just becomes.
There's no goal to tell people, well, yeah, I know you like the woods, but now you have to live in the field. You know, the goal is to restore it to something that's beautiful again, but will fit into the criteria of what we need to maintain a safe harbor.
thank you. I have a lot of constituents who live in this affected area, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a great question.
And what we've tried to do is try to get engagement as much as possible, because what our job is try to learn the guidelines of what we have to do and try to see how that fits in with what they want to do. And you try to find a way that we can all get what we need to get.
Last question.
So this may sound like a weird question. Any of these proposed hangars or people that are talking about hangars, are the doors going to be over 28 feet or over?
Height or width?
Height.
I don't think so.
Well,
They're really
not
high.
currently, but you know, all that.
So none
course,
of them, so by the sounds of it, none of them will require suppression systems.
no, we haven't been approached with anything like that. But as you know, all this stuff is very well regulated. So
I'm just trying to, in my mind, assess what.
most of this stuff is less than 20 foot.
All right, one more, then we're done. We gotta move on here. Go ahead.
I
We're done.
So I understand the FAA gives these grants because that's how they are salient. If people are flying, then they exist. So, on a 415 acre campus, is this just the beginning? Is there room to expand and get to the next size and offer a space for bigger jets and then bigger jets? Or do we have a maximum we're going after?
I don't know if we're not really even going after. What we're doing is we have a lot of traffic that's coming here, and it's increasing all the time. And you know, the model for air traffic for the airport was founded for the 25 years after that was, you know, commuter flights and small planes. Now it's more about charters, anywhere from a little tiny plane with a couple buddies coming up for the weekend to a little bit bigger stuff. We're not really seeing a future immediate with really any larger planes, just more accessible for the planes that want to get here now.
Yeah. Especially.
Justin, if you wanna, forward me your, meeting nights, I will share it with the board, and any of these people are willing, or if they're able to come to your commission and meet and ask any questions if they have further questions. You have a pamphlet, you have information packet for everyone, so.
This also has my contact information as well as Matt's, and we also have an email address just for the airport commission that's in here. We do host a workshop meeting, and I will share that with Ed so everybody has it.
You give them one. Oh, okay. Thanks, sir.
Everybody got one?
Then
Thank you very much, Justin.
The workshop meeting is the Monday following a regular meeting, which is the third Wednesday of every month. I will send that so everybody's got it. And the idea of the workshop meeting, excuse me, is a roundtable discussion. Anybody who wants to come and they want to learn more about that geometry of the airways and things of that nature, or just have a discussion about the airport, the economic impact of the airport, or anything airport. It's just, and we'd love to have as many people there as we can, just to have open discussions about it. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, we'll move on to special, the reports of standing committee. Public Works, Representative McCarty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met on May 14th at 9 o'clock. Going to see about 7 resolutions in the packet tonight. First in was emergency service was Victor Jones, and then the permission to use all the parking lots on Hall of Fame weekend. We gave permission for that. I also asked Victor Jones to work with Tammy Harris about getting historic recognition for the Colliersville explosion that happened over the rail derailment that happened over 50 years ago, and injured a lot of firemen, got hurt. I think that's something that should be recognized because a lot of younger people never knew that happened. Devastated the county pretty well. Tim Donahue was in, requested approval to award a bid to OTGOV 010-26 for Otsego County Courthouse West Gutter Collection Box and ice cable replacement. That was $102,450. We approved that. Tim also had a bunch of approvals for budget transfers. Pay for that. We approved that. He also requested approval for air temp heating and air condition incorporated to replace propane boiler at the emergency service Red Barn. We approved that. That was $9,550. Tim also requested award a contract to OTGOV 012-26 for the Meadows Well Rehabilitation Project to Surface Tech at a cost of $47,375. We approved that. He also had a brief discussion about his credit card bill. It was $215. Tammy Harris was in. Tammy Harris requested approval to allow the name of Tim Donahue to be clerk of the works to assist in the Southern Transfer Station renovations. We approved that. Nicole Duran requested approval to declare a surplus bus. We did that. Highway Department was in. Approved the salt bid for cargo salt at $85.74 a ton. We approved that. Rich Bremer requested approval for County Route 59 bridge replacement construction bid from the Vector for the price of $3,551,000. That was bid OTGOV 001-26. We approved that. He also requested approval to extend the resolution 8/2026-0107 to CNS Engineering for the County Route 59 bridge project. We approved that. And we also approved the request, the hot mix asphalt FOB related materials and services through from 5/19 to 5/18/27. We approved that. He also requested approval to extend resolution 379-2023-1206 for GPI for engineering for the County Route 4 bridge. We approved that. Looked at his credit card. I also informed the committee that the landowner or the County Route 20 bridge culvert project has accepted, to sell the land for the assessed value. That was, we needed that land in order to replace that bridge. Representative Hinckley spoke to about County Route 8 in West Oneonta, the front of the old highway garage. There's some spots where the culverts should have been fixed up, and I believe he's taking care of that. And also, we also want to have a little discussion with the county forester. We haven't seen him in a while, and he's coming at the next public works meeting. And we meet again on June 19th or June 11th at 9 o'clock. Good.
Thank you, Representative McCartney. Are there any questions for the chair today?
Oh,
Hearing none.
good.
Intergovernmental Affairs, Representative Mariana.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So just very quickly, the resolutions today that are in our agenda related to IGA are Resolution 237, the which we actually had the beginning hearing associated with the CDBG process, and then Resolution 238 is a contract just finishing up some loose ends with the Village of Cooperstown regarding the trolley operation. So those are the two main resolutions. There is a third that is going to be late that IGA approved taking the recommendations from the 250 celebration committee in regards to some grants allocations, America 250 grant. And that also went to admin. That is coming late from the floor. Allocation, those allocations that already were approved through our regular process. Otherwise, I think our minutes fairly are straightforward and speak for themselves. We had some business from obviously County Administrator's Office, the Board of Elections, which we took care of an additional piece this morning, just adding that $10,000 additional print cost. We also had Otsego to us related to the CDBG grants and just an electrical infrastructure study for the Oneonta rail yards. And then we had Tammy Harrison planning, talking to us about some work from an intern, which was a great project and great work by a SUNY Oneonta intern. So Trevor Fuller gave us an overview of that. I think that is going to be shared with the board at some point. I think they were just finalizing that. I don't think that it's immediately live at this time, but I had asked planning to share that with the full board when they do have that finalized. Tammy also did a great job going over strategic plan update and just talking to us about planning, public transit, dates and measures. So that was really insightful and helpful. And then we're still dealing with trolley repair that is the responsibility of the Village of Cooperstown. I'm not sure if that's been finalized, but we'll talk more about that at our IGA meeting coming up next week on June 9th. And I think just a reminder to everyone, we are continuing our discussion about just gathering information on data centers and related to Emmett Hinchy's proposed resolution. And, just planning's doing a great job collecting a lot of information, bringing training information, and really bringing kind of an aggregated amount of resources together for us to make better informed decisions and ultimately take a look at Hinchy's resolution in the near future, which I think our hope is to bring it through committee I keep saying it's, we would ideally like to come to some kind of conclusion and, IGA would be obviously as we discussed before, the best starting point. And then I think, we had some updates from, Veteran Services from Phil Kaus, just related to state funding the Dwyer grants that, our Veteran Services receive and how can utilize that money in the best possible way and more importantly, spend that money out. So we talked about that during our discussion. There's a loose end. We're still trying to figure out, there's a possibility of some funding that would help purchase some food for veterans in Otsego County, but it's a pass-through kind of situation. We're just trying to look into how that can best be structured and make sure that it's set up in a legal process or legal structure that makes the most sense for us. So I think those are the main highlights. So
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the chair today? Hearing none. Human Services, Representative Martini.
Thank you, Chairman Fraser. Before I forget, our next meeting is June 9th at 9 a.m. For the May meeting, first up was the Department of Health. We are contracting with Herkimer County for a preschool program, and there's some personnel create funded fills. And we did a budget transfer for the opioid settlement funds, and really was just so that we could assign account numbers to where the money was coming from and going to. Next up was community services. Pretty straightforward, paying some bills and needed approval to fill a keyboard specialist position. We had a presentation from Beacon Solutions talking about the revenue cycle. And this would impact community services in this subcommittee or this committee, probably the most, but this was also a presentation that was given at admin. So folks are likely familiar with it. This was mostly about billing and making sure that we are getting as much money as we can, pretty much, which we all agree was a good idea. Next up was, and last, was DSS. Just a couple of contracts, one with Catholic Charities, two with OFO. One was just an amendment of a previous contract. Personnel wise, we have new hires, but we also have new vacancies. So it seems to be a wash every month. So, in terms of motel stats, and remember again, this was the May meeting, which means it's mostly data from April. Phoenix Orchard, which are the tiny homes, had 10. DSS housed individuals. Motel 88 had 20. Crossroads 22. The Budget 8. Super 8 2. Genie's Dream Motel 5. The Herkimer Budget had 5, and OFO had 3 families. There were 24 calls to OPD. 10 were related to DSS housed individuals. And at the end of April, they're able to do kind of a quick Code Blue roundup. These aren't the final statistics. These are just, first go through the statistics. So in the Code Blue period, 148 individuals were served, which equated out to 721 hotel beds. And in comparison, this Code Blue season seems to have been much more intense than previous years. So 23 and 24, they used 144 hotel rooms. 24 and 25 was 247 rooms. And again, this past season was 721. Unclear at this point why that is. Some of it is just the weather was more intense this winter than it had been in previous winters. But this is me editorializing. I don't think it was that much more intense. So more to come on that. So in your packet, the resolutions that came out of this committee are 240 and 241, 246, 47, 48, 49, and are there any questions? Happy to give them a shot.
Yeah, just that increase from 250 last year to 700. How do we investigate the origin of that, Mike?
That is a DSS question.
Yeah.
They always have an after season.
Okay. So that's happening like kind of right now.
Yeah. Yes, because this, remember again, this was the May meeting and the Code Blue season had just ended. So
Okay.
this was just the first pass. It will get.
So we haven't necessarily compared to other counties yet or anything. We'll find out if that was trying.
Not yet. That was just the season ended. We have these numbers. Now we figure out why.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Any other questions for the chair? Thank you. Public Safety and Legal Affairs, Representative Wilbur.
Chairman Fraser, meeting was May 14th in this room. Emergency Services, Victor Jones was the first one on the agenda. Gave an update on the comprehensive county EMS plan and county EMS coordinators. Have received a letter stating that the law will take effect on June 19th. It'll be a little challenging getting all of that done with the level of people they have in that office to do it, but we'll see what happens. You requested approval to amend the resolution regarding the upgrade in the deputy fire coordinator salaries, accidentally given the amount didn't reflect the full amount that it was supposed to. So that was approved. That's in today's packet. Next on the agenda was Alan Barnes, representing County Administrator's Office, explained that Beacon Solution was hired to do a revenue cycle analysis of the agencies that accept Medicaid payments, which would include County Ambulance Services and the Department of Health. Gave a synopsis of that. Next on the list was Probation Director Dan Naughton. Requested approval to contract with S&P Security for the remainder of 2026 calendar year. I believe for Meadows and for 242. And that was approved, so we're going to continue that contract through the end of the year. Requested approval to send 4 probation officers off for training, and that was approved. Public Defender Susan Lettuce gave an update on revenues, mentioning they have submitted the last quarter of 2025 and first quarter of 2026 an amount just over $900,000. That's good news. That will be coming back. She gave an update on the 189 lease, mentioning they need a certificate of liability from the landlord. Requested a motion to create, fund, and fill the assigned counseling program coordinator position, as ILS wants this position. The coordinator position is 100% funded by ILS, including fringe, MC grade 5. ILS would like to come to the next PSLA meeting to discuss the managing attorney position. Had some issues with recruiting in that, so. She requested approval of a resolution to extend the temporary part-time assistant public defender position another 6 months. That was approved. She briefly spoke about the credit card purchases, and all purchases are reimbursed by ILS. Gave committee members a copy of the completed proposed MOU with Legal Services of Central New York. Agreement sending them calls for any clients who need housing stability, something. It's all subject to county. Codes Director Dara discussed code books. Code books are on their desktops from New York Publishing. New York Publishing is not getting a copyright from New York State code books for the current code cycle. Requested funding to acquire actual books. That was approved, and software. Representative Berline, I always butcher that. Berline, motion for an executive session, discuss matters to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation. That was approved. Being no further business to discuss, they adjourned after executive session. Our next meeting will be June 11th at 1 p.m. on this.
Thank you. Any questions for the chair today? None. Solid Waste Environmental Concerns, Representative Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had Tammy Harris, Kevin Musser, and Kyle King come before us, talked about the financing of the Southern Tier Transfer Station. I think it's in the best interest of the county if we use our investment monies and pay ourselves back rather than pay interest to someone else. Or we can keep all the money for ourselves. Tammy has requested for food for the volunteers at the household hazardous waste, that we approved that. Tammy Harris also requested approval for a resolution urging enactment of the packaging reduction and recycling. We've approved that. And then we got into the New York State Forest and Wildlife, and we done a motion to not mess around with our state forest and also our county forest when it comes to citing utilities. Kyle gave the MSW and the C&D report. Those numbers are all there. You can read them as well as I can. So in water, we had a training day. We attended that. We got the excavator grant cleared up, and the county, we worked with Rich Brimmer, and the county's gonna house it and man it for us, the excavator. We did 10 mini grants at $1,000 a piece. We actually had more applicants than we had money, so that was nice. We got to pick and choose a little bit. They seem to be very popular, and everybody seemed to be trying to do the best with their money. We talked about the building repairs, and we're closing out a $900,000 plus Town of Lawrence project, manure handling project, Town of Lawrence. We were awarded 2 climate resilient farming grants, and we're sending marathon teams to the state competition next month in Cortland. Sent a letter of memo of support with our concerns for the holiday hunt. And this, Kyle mentioned the plastic film challenge in the winters. The elementary school was Otsego Central School, 1,346 pounds of plastics, and the middle high school was Springbrook School with 934 pounds. So both schools received the ice cream social donated by Stewart Shops. That was very nice. And talked about the user fee appeals board and the climate smart communities, which we've got to work for last month. And now we're talking about the climate change adaptation and resilience planned opportunity. No cost to the county. Helps their communities develop ways to mitigate future climate concerns. And then Casella came, and they're concerned with the cost of fuel, of course, as everyone is, and they asked for some help with that, and we agreed to that. No further business. We will meet again on the 11th at 11 o'clock.
Any questions for the chair today? Amen.
Thank you, Representative Powers. I have a few things. I handed out 2 pieces of paper to everybody about 2 resolutions. I like that he explained why he's going to say no in a vote, so I'm going to explain why I'm going to say no. We'll start with number 242, which has to do with Casella. And Casella is asking us to subsidize, if you look at the resolution, fees per gallon for diesel fuel over $4.50 for the next 6 months. And I was a little hesitant on this. Representative Burlian was definitely a hard no. And I just want to go through 2.11 of their contract. If you look, it says Casella would have the opportunity to provide support information for any uncontrollable, unplanned cost increase. We got no support information. We just got a request. There was no data connected to it. There was no paperwork. There was no past history. And especially for someone like me who's new, I had no context. And so I know that it is in their contract to adjust for diesel fuel cost increased. I don't think I got enough support information. And so I kind of dug in, and on the back, I looked at Casella's first quarter earnings, and they were up 10% to $457 million this past quarter. And I'm just concerned that, like, all I've heard since I got on the board is that we've cut so much from every one of our departments and that we're going to subsidize extra for fuel costs. And maybe that's a past precedent I'm not sure about, and someone could explain that to me. But if we were going to do that, wouldn't we then, anything less than 450, we would ask them to pay us if that was the standard number for them to still make revenue? I'm just trying to figure it all out. So I'm kind of uncomfortable with it. I don't think we got enough documentation personally on that one. And then for number 244, has to do with, you look at the state forests. So again, we didn't get the actual bill when we were asked to support this. So I printed it out for everybody. This is the Assembly and the Senate addition to environmental protection law. It's the same paragraph for both. But in the paragraph, it says nothing about citing. Okay, Representative Powers brought up citing. In our resolution, we talked about citing. There is nothing here about citing. It is just interconnection. And interconnection is for renewable energy. Okay, which it's interesting that we are applauding climate smart programs in our county, but then we don't want to also encourage climate smart interconnection of renewable energy sources throughout our state. And so I just want to make sure I'm clear when I make my opinions known on that. And if there's any more discussion about that.
I'd like to make one other comment about Casella and why I voted no and will vote no today. They are a $1.87 billion company. They make lots of profits. They have been on a buying spree, and that $1.87 billion is rapid revenue growth over the past 12 months. I don't think they need our help to the degree that our towns and villages and residents need our help. And they did not, I also want to point out that they did not ask for that full amount. They just said anything you might be able to do to help would be great. And the committee voted to fund the full amount. So I am a hard no on that. I don't think a $1.87 billion company needs our help.
Thank you, but I think some of this conversation should be.
Yes, that's what I
during the
thought.
resolution process. Yeah, I'm not trying
Yeah.
to disregard anything, but I think during the committee reports that this conversation is for when we pull the resolution and discuss that. Okay, but thank you.
So just real quick, Representative.
Certainly.
In the future, you'd prefer I pull these resolutions to make these discussions?
That would be good.
Okay.
Then you're gonna vote no on it because you.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're not gonna allow it in the consent agenda.
I already pulled
242 has been pulled. I'm assuming that
I wasn't sure
244,
of the process. I apologize.
244 you would ask to be pulled. You aren't gonna vote for it.
Correct.
So you would ask for that to be pulled. There'd be a conversation at that point. Why did you pull it? And then you could present whatever you want. So then the conversation could expand.
Great.
And
Thank you.
it will again today, I'm sure.
Thank you.
So, okay. Any other questions for the chair? Hearing none. Admin, Representative Kennedy.
Oh, thank you, Chair Frazier. We met on May 21st at 9 a.m. and our next meeting is June 18th at 9 a.m. So we went through many of the things that have been discussed already today. We had DSS present contracts and budget modifications that we approved. The county attorney gave us the updated contract policy. And then we also had a discussion on the use of county-owned facilities, and that one we are going to revisit in June. Highway, we approved the contracts that have been already presented to us, and they are in the consent agenda. The treasurer gave us a report. He zoomed in from the NISAC Finance School. The main things that we talked about were the short-term rental registry. So there are companies out there who do deeper dives into short-term rentals, who the exact properties, where they're located, who's operating them, and then they provide that information to counties. So next month, we will be looking at some quotes for some people who provide those services, and we can have that discussion about whether or not that's something that we want to do. But we do know they have these kind of forensic people who are out there finding short-term rentals. And then we can just be assured that we're getting the revenues that they're generating that are due to the locality, to the local government. Short-term rental, occupancy tax, and sales tax. We discussed the time and attendance policy, whether or not we would be wanting to bring that in and start the process for regularizing time and attendance record keeping, modernizing it, let's just say. We discussed the auctions. So the 2024 auction is nearing the last day to redeem to pay for those properties is June 30th of this month. People can still pull their parcel out before it goes into the brochure, and that last day for the 2024 is June 30th. Alan also gave us an update on sales tax. Currently, we are 2.11% ahead of 2025, where we were at this time. Occupancy tax collected to date, and we realize we haven't really hit the main stride for occupancy tax collection, but we're already have collected about 229,000 that's gone into the general fund, and 114,000 has gone into the highway fund for our earlier agreement with ourselves when we added 2% into that percentage. Real property, they are working on getting the ARC GIS migration all queued up with the tax map online. So this is some things that we do have people who are in-house able to work on this. Levi from planning is a ArcGIS specialist, so we're able to do this work within our own staff, which is great. We had emergency services come, we had probation come and present on the S&T contract that we approved. Building services, we did also award the bid for the courthouse roof and make the transfer of funds that was necessary. The county administrator's office, we approved the America 250 awards and the very small transfer that would make above and beyond the amount that New York State gave us. I think it was $400 some odd. So we approved that. And that is with the coming in as a late, which everyone will have this list. We had the very interesting and complicated and long discussion, but well worth it, on the revenue cycle review, which I think was a great starting point for a lot of different recommendations that they gave us. And I think if we wanted to just sum it all back down, we want to focus on the process to be able to collect more dollars for the county for services that are able to be charged for. And if we follow these best practices and we dig in on that, I think that we'll be doing good work. We also approved the Otsego Now CBDG grant application. And with planning, we approved the cost share with Cooperstown for the Cooperstown trolley and the Leatherstocking trolley to run it. We did approve the fuel surcharge for Casella at $1.75 per ton while fuel is above $4.50. I really appreciate the discussion points that I've heard already and look forward to discussing that a little bit more later on. Personnel, we created and funded and filled a senior public health educator. And that is what I have for admin. If anyone has any questions.
Any questions for the chair today? Thank you. Special committee negotiations. I understand we have labor peace.
For the next 4 years,
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you to the committee. Great job.
unless something pops up, which you never know.
No. Okay. Thank you, sir. Performance review and goal setting, technology, strategic planning, Representative Marietta.
Yes, so performance review and goal setting did not meet for May. We were not going to have quorum, but TSP did, technology and strategic planning, both committees. Just to mention very quickly, the next meetings for both committees are on June 23rd, 9 a.m. for TSP and 10 a.m. for PRGS. I think just regarding PRGS, I think hopefully we can hold that meeting on June 23rd and do some follow-up. We had talked about some areas that we wanted to focus on this year for PRGS, and we had previously a great discussion on the time and attendance, which is moving forward very quickly, and that's very exciting to see. So I think there's a couple of things that were that we had talked about in committee that we'd like to spend a little more time looking at. And we previously in April we had a good discussion with personnel about some of the work they're doing. So I think also just the department head evaluations are going to happen this year, but there is going to be need to be some reason, just given the circumstances with the county administrator. So that is a work in progress. So there's more to come, but those will be implemented. So at some point, I think there'll be a revised schedule put out to our department heads. For technology strategic planning, it was a small group, Rick and I, but we discussed with county admin, administrator staff, person day about current service level and just getting a better idea of what some of the work she's been doing with our department heads and from a strategic planning perspective and where current service level stands. And I think just not to get into the weeds on it, it sounds like a lot of our discussion around current service level is going to get pushed off to next year. And that's partially from our conversation with Day and then a more recent conversation I had with the county administrator. So it doesn't impact our work, our strategic planning efforts and what we're doing on Clear Plan. But there is a conversation about better defining current service levels and where that might live on Clear Plan. And I think for now that is kind of on the back burner. The one thing we did talk with Day about for our next meeting on June 23rd is working to define for the county reps or us as a group, our own priority outcomes and essential activities, which currently are not in Clear Plan. I think everyone else has the priority outcomes and essential activities, except there's a couple elected led departments, and we are one of them. So I think if we could get our us crossed off the list, that would be a very good thing. So we talked about having that discussion at strategic planning, then obviously bringing forward those ideas around priority outcomes and essential activities to present to all of you, and then get your sign off, and then we'll get those populated and put a plan. Rick, anything you wanted to add?
Well, you're welcome. We had plenty of time.
Yes. So I think that's it. I just wanted to mention something on other organization, Cornell Cooperative Extension is talking about is going to do the drop-in dinner again. I don't know how many reps were able, and obviously we have some new reps here. But during the county fair, Cornell Cooperative Extension has been doing kind of a drop-in dinner the day of the firemen's parade, and it's just something for us to just stop in and meet some of the Cornell staff, but also just a thank you to us, and also an opportunity to get us to go out to the county fair. If you haven't been in a number of years, Cornell is heavily involved, and especially on the 4-H side with animals, and they have a whole exhibit set up. And so the firemen's parade actually is August 5th this year, so there'll be a more formal invitation from Cornell about that dinner. But the firemen's parade, I think, is at 7 o'clock, so it obviously would be before that parade.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the chair? Hearing none. Do we have any reports of other boards, advisory boards, committees that anyone might be involved in?
Yeah, Southern Tier 8, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to leverage the help we can get from them. But I did have an interview with Jen Gregory yesterday down in Oneonta for about an hour, and she informed me a lot about how the process works, how to support us here, how to apply for monies through the Appalachian Regional Commission. And so I finally got my head on straight as to what it actually is, and I think it's going to be a lot better going forward. We had a really good conversation about some projects and about the county.
What is our contribution rate each year to that now, Meg?
I think it may be 7,500 or maybe 8,000. It has gone up a little bit.
And it's about to go up more.
We pay every year. We like to get some return on that, so.
Have we gotten a lot of
Yes,
return?
yeah. I didn't, that didn't come out right. They do a lot for us. They do a lot for us, but we like to maximize our return on it. And that's what I should say. All right, sorry.
Yeah, because with broadband studies and with that health work clinic, kind of a mobile clinic that they set up, I think it's going to be this summer. That's really big. And we've been working for a couple of years to get that. So yeah, we've had definitely projects.
Anyone else? All right, I had a couple of things. One is the IDA board. We have a vacancy on the IDA board. They're looking for a potential builder, architecture, someone that might have some experience in that. If we can't find that, we'll find an at-large member to put back on the IDA board. We lost an engineer. That's what he was, right, with Delta? So we have that vacancy. If anybody in your districts knows anyone might be interested in serving, get their name to us or to Andrew. Another thing is we have a vacancy on our ambulance steering committee. We generally have 2 board members on there. Our other board member is not going to run again next year, so that vacancy will occur on January 1, and the chairman will appoint someone to fill that vacancy next year. What I'd like to see is someone that is sitting here today that is running unopposed, that will be sitting here next year. Maybe we appoint them, and then there's some continuity. If anyone that's running unopposed will consider that, let me know, and we'll attempt to fill that vacancy today. So
I have a question about that.
yes, ma'am.
Like a city of Oneonta rep, I'm not aware about what this committee entails, so that's why I'm asking. Is the city of Oneonta rep, who we're fortunate to have those services, is that not a good idea for someone for the city to sit on this commission because of that?
So this basically is with our agreement with Bassett Hospital,
Okay,
all right?
well, I'm just trying to
Jen-
gain like best perspective, like for
So
representation
this,
there.
this deals with policy, deals with billing, deals with the inner, operations of this thing. I'm not sure that, does it come up anything with city specific? I haven't
Okay.
seen it. So
Okay.
I don't think any of us should be excluded from potentially city.
It's a contract that y'all are approving.
Right. No, I know. I just like,
I don't see it.
okay, like people on the commission being like, you have your own ambulance service, like
No,
what, you know,
no.
yeah.
It's strictly the best.
This is about the inter-facility transportation stuff.
Right, and how to improve it and
Okay,
communication.
so, good morning. A question just came up on, you and I discussed the, vacancies on the ambulance steering committee. And we talked about possibly an unopposed representative in January fulfilling the existing vacancy today. The question came up, is there any reason that a city representative shouldn't sit on that ambulance steering committee?
From board members, sitting representatives, I can think of no reason we shouldn't do that. We should keep in mind, our ambulance service does not cover the city of Oneonta. I think.
Right, that's why I was asking
That's
that.
right.
I just
Yeah.
was unsure about.
Yeah, but this,
But this,
because this is strictly with the contract with Bassett, so I don't see a conflict there.
No, I don't think
And
there's
even
a
though our
conflict at
ambulance
all.
service does not officially cover Oneonta,
Right.
if you look at the run calls, we do go into Oneonta.
We absolutely go into Oneonta and there's a more or less
Well,
cooperative
yeah,
arrangement between them, so. Anyone, I was kind of taking your question to me for the city council.
Oh,
Oh, no,
no,
here,
no, no.
yeah,
Sorry,
no, it's okay.
I can hear about as good as I can see apparently.
okay, thank you. Any other questions on that? Okay. On our purchase of the property. After we closed on it, I directed our building services to go in to secure all the buildings. They're doing an assessment on the buildings. They're gonna have a final report, I think by admin this month, but I'm not sure. If not, by admin, at the next board meeting. We are attempting to honor the lease that the Holstein Corporation had with the farmer that farms that property for this year. And we're gonna look at all options, and if any of you have options, considerations for property usage, then, we're all ears. The other thing is, the press release that went out saying that quite possibly nothing happens with the property while we were sitting here, but it meant we'll open up options for future boards to do what they may need to do, down the road. We may not see anything built on there, but the options are there, and I think that gives a lot of flexibility for the future of any board that sits here. So, all right. Any questions on that? Thank you. Are there any special reports today? Hear that?
Yeah.
We need a motion to dispense with the reading of all reports and resolutions.
So
second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
So which ones have been pulled now?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's why I thought that. Anyone wishing? Can I
Read
do-
writing.
You can't read my writing.
Even with my glass on.
Anyone wishing to remove a resolution from the consent agenda today? We have 242 has been requested.
Pardon me?
244.
Yes, thank you.
244. Is there any other resolution that any board member would like to remove? We need someone to make a motion to accept the consent agenda, which is
I'll make that motion.
230 to 241, 243, and 245 to 253.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, Wilbur, we have a second, Clapperton. Any discussion? Roll call vote, sorry.
Frazier,
Aye.
Powers,
Aye.
Brockway,
Aye.
Hinchey,
Yes.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Mitchell, Burley,
Yes.
Marietta,
Yes.
McCarty,
Aye.
Wilbur,
Aye.
Mendez,
Yes.
Martini,
Aye.
Clapperton,
Aye.
Lucille.
Yes.
Consent agenda. 100 ayes, no noes, no absent, no abstentions, no vacant. Consent agenda is adopted.
Resolution 242, subsidizing diesel fuel surcharge to support county transfer station transportation and disposal services for a period of 6 months. Powers, McCarty, Kennedy, Hinchey, Burley.
So,
Second,
second.
any discussion?
So I think we already brought up some of the issues, but, you know, I felt somewhat conflicted at the time because I do want to be a good partner to them, to the degree that we can. But then when I went back and I looked up the amount of money they have billed over the last 12 months and that they are using that money to buy up other companies, they're basically in a massive growth spur right now. And they are a profitable company and they're even locally profitable, which I asked about at the time. And then going to my town and village board meetings and hearing how their departments are absolutely struggling to make ends meet, particularly like with road repairs and the price of fuel and the price of the supplies that they need. And it feels like this is giving a corporation money that they want but don't need, while our towns and villages are starving. And they did not ask for the full amount. I was a little surprised that we agreed to the full amount when they did not ask for that. But like, I don't think that they are in the desperate straits that so many people are, including our farmers who are paying unbelievable fuel prices. Like, I would rather help local people and local businesses and our towns and villages survive than a big corporation that's on a buying spree and making billions of dollars. So that is why I'm in the.
Representative Wilbur?
So this is the first I'm aware of it. And I thank you for researching that. Well, coincidentally, I canceled my own home delivery pickup service, and it's not Casella because they hit me with an $8 a month surcharge for fuel, which I think was absurd. I think everybody is paying the extra in gas prices and fuel prices, and that's just part of doing business. So I'm going to be in there with that.
So at that meeting that morning, I asked the question because my supplier, my contractor, I actually have on all of mine a percentage fuel charge, and my curbside delivery every month. So my question to Casella that day was, you don't also charge the ones that you're picking it up from. You aren't trying to get money from us and increasing.
Oh.
And I was guaranteed that is not showed up on the Casella's bill, that they do it. I asked the question because that was kind of foreign to me that they're coming to us to truck their stuff out, because I use WRE down in Sydney and he trucks his stuff out too, but I pay a fuel charge on the bill each month. So, one question I may have. So if this was Russ Smith came to you and said, is this a different conversation because he's local and he's not a huge conglomerate?
I don't know. I think
I mean, but
I would
just
ask the
look at
same
that,
question.
is that fair?
I
Is
would
that
ask.
fair to
I would
like the
ask the
word
same
discriminate.
questions. I would ask, are you profitable right now at these rates? Right? Like, if the increased fuel price is just cutting into the profit margin, that is a different thing than we won't survive without this. So I would ask the same questions and hope to get honest answers. And I appreciate that they gave an honest answer. They are profitable even with the increased fuel prices. So, yeah, you know,
I just
yeah.
wondered about that.
Yeah.
Someone,
Oh.
Andrew had his hand up, I'm sorry.
I think, I just had asked Tammy for some background. We did, approve a surcharge in 2022. So they actually had asked for 475 a ton. And I think the other thing that Tammy was just mentioning is that, that in 2022, we had a lot of discussion about this. I remember, I think we, brought, was uncomfortable with this whole discussion. I think there was a lot of discussion at the board meeting in 2022. I think that, the bigger issue is that there's this specific language in the contract that essentially says, they can request and that the county would not unreasonably withhold a pass through of these costs. And what that defines as unreasonable is obviously open to interpretation. I think the bigger picture for us is that contract language needs to be cleaned up, and that, I think that we put kind of a pin on that. We can't do anything about it till the Casella contract comes up in a couple of years, but, Casella's just exercising the right that's given them in the contract. Of course, we can say no, but, I think, in 2022, they were facing significant, fuel costs. We, did it, I think, as a good partnership. I think that was the way it was presented in 2022, and I think they're just asking this question because we are their partner.
It's,
Adrian, I
Yeah,
saw
no,
you
no,
was
no, no.
next.
No, I think Jill was.
oh, okay. It's when I think about the bigger picture, how are we going to pay the difference in our fuel costs, like here at the county, like highway department, right? It's not a question that like deserves an answer. It's just something also like, okay, we're gonna give our money to this profitable company, but we're here in the county on a tight budget and costs have gone up for us too. DSS cars traveling all over the county, highway departments, office of the aging, many departments who go out on the road with increased fuel costs.
Do we actually see an increased fuel cost when we're under contract?
Did we actually what?
Do we actually see an increased fuel cost? It's at the Albany dock, right? Whatever that price is,
Well, we have a fluctuating.
right. It's
So
not
perhaps-
fixed. That's my question. It's not fixed. Okay. So
Not
we are
fixed,
seeing it. Because
Right.
if it was fixed, we wouldn't see an increase. But I'm sorry.
But that would just be for the highway department, all the other
Well,
vehicles on the road, I'm sure,
No, all our
all are
vehicles,
under the same.
go right ahead.
Oh, Representative Powers had his hand up first. So he-
Ladies first.
Okay. So I think, we did have some discussion. I agree that Casella did not have a clearly laid out argument with backed up data on this. It was a kind of like, he can provide it and he's going to bring it to the next meeting, all based on the price coming out, the published price for diesel that they work off of. I think that the advantage to, and then point two, we did cap it out that it will be no more than, I think it was $1.75 per gallon. Per ton, based on anything above, with fuel
No, it's
being
per
at
gallon.
587, so the fuel
Per
could
ton.
go up. It's per ton of trash, but it's based on a differential between.
Well, 450.
At the time they presented us, they were paying 587 for diesel, and they had built into their contract, they thought it would go no higher than 450. So they're $1.37 above where they had kind of been like laying out their whole plan. So we agreed that we would compensate by, paying $1.75 per ton while the fuel was high. We would revisit it at the end of the year, no matter what. and we would pay no more than $1.75 per ton, even if diesel went to like $7 or whatever. So we did have some guardrails built in, and I do want to say that I think the advantage of working with Casella or any partner through a harder time like this is that while you're in it and a road bump comes up and you help negotiate over the road bump, you are now a partner that is working with them. And if we were to say, we're not helping you, well then come time for next contract, then all these potential built-in expenses are going to be preloaded into the contract. And I think it would make for a maybe more expensive contract going forward, because I think they want to maintain their profitability. So they will do that by making more tighter contracts that just have higher thresholds. So I think that we did have some discussion on this. It sounds like we caved or whatever, but I do think there are some built-in constraints to what we're giving away. And I think the total for the year was going to end up being, I can't remember what we ended up. I have a couple numbers written down, but it didn't, I have
35,000.
34 or 34,000?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm migrating.
So anyway, that's.
It's not a per gallon. I think we just need to clear that up.
Yeah, it's per ton.
Per ton.
So,
Sure.
so, I think 30 years, I don't know. And I can tell you that going back to MOSA and having guaranteed annual tonnages and telling people what they're gonna do and having someone else set the price for us, I think we're in the driver's seat now. And we, at least I have tried desperately over the last 20 years to make sure that garbage was affordable and easy to do so that people could take care of their garbage. It wasn't on the roadside. It wasn't thrown in a vacant lot somewhere. And I think that we're going into a multi-million-dollar building project with these people as partners. And I get how some people feel you want to make them stick to the contract, but I really don't think you want to go out and kick somebody in the shins like this, because I know truckers and you start telling them they have to eat the price of fuel, pretty soon they're riding on tires that maybe they should have changed a couple thousand miles ago, but they're driving more hours than they should be. And my point is, there's always a price to be paid. I would rather pay this price, know what it is, and make the situation be stable.
Sure.
Sitting here listening, and please, because I'm new here and I don't usually say much, but if I'm hearing correctly, they came in and they asked for whatever we can afford, and we just automatically went to the max.
No.
What did I hear wrong?
Well, the max would have been that we would pay a differential that moved ahead with the higher price per fuel per gallon of diesel that they're buying.
Okay.
But we cut it off and said we'll pay per ton of flat rate. And if it goes below that, then it goes away. If diesel goes back to $4.50, it goes away. But when diesel remains above $4.50, we'll pay an additional $1.75 per ton of garbage that they're hauling.
Which is what it was, I don't know what it is today, but that is the differential the day that they came to talk to us.
Okay, I just needed clarification. So.
I'm not sure if that helped, but hopefully.
No, it did. It did.
According to the internet, it's higher now. Of course, yeah, things are down up anyway.
Okay.
Sure.
Over the years, they've asked for this more than times, but they never put a time limit on how long it was. I don't think the price ever went down in that length of time. With this, we got 6 months to, even change it or whatever happens. But over the years, there's been 2 or 3 times when they've asked for price increases and there was never a time limit. Otherwise, I felt the same way they did. But at least this way, in 6 months, we look at it, and say, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. They agreed not to raise the bag rates or anything like that, because otherwise they'd make that up at the when you dump your bag of garbage off somehow, so. You know, it's just, it's the price of doing business, you know, it's at $10 of whatever it was, you know, that's, to have that trucked out there, there's $500,000. You know, so that's a lot for a company to eat and, you know, and you want them to prosper. And they've done a lot down there. I mean, far as they gave us money towards, we weren't getting paid metal prices. Now we're splitting that. We get $1,000 a month or whatever. So they've been good people. I will support it.
Any other first time commenters?
Just real quick. I use Casella at home. In the last 15 years, my bill has gone from like $25 to it's now approaching 60. And every single time it's a fuel surcharge. Every time. It has never gone back down. It has never been, oh, the crisis has passed. Mostly because as a consumer, I can't write into my, like, I don't control that contract, right? Like, I'm stuck with what they propose. I could also go to a different hauler. That's on me. Simple business.
Is that a month at 60?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I could just schlep my garbage down. Am I? No. Yeah. This is all on me. Like, I could get out of this. However, I do like that the proposal writes into it. It's 6 months, but I can assure you that in 6 months it will just become what we're paying now, as opposed to going down. Like, if this is the price that we're going to pay, it will continue being that price. And
Yeah, but at 6 months, it goes back to the maximum of $450.
Contract.
Unless we address it, unless we change it. This sunlights, in 6 months, it goes back to the existing numbers. So
I'm concerned. My concern would be that I understand being a good partner, and I feel that we have been, because we have been doing a fuel surcharge in 2022. We have been negotiating with Casella to get the best deal that we can. I am also aware that pretty much everyone is facing higher fuel costs at this point in time. It's not just people who are hauling trash.
Yeah, but in 6 months, diesel fuel could be $7 a gallon.
Yes, it could.
You know, and you know,
but we
and
cannot
then we
control-
negotiate, and say, no, well, we're not gonna pay that $2 extra or whatever. Heck it is.
were you finished? I'll let you-
I'm just explaining why I'm voting no.
Okay.
That is.
All right, one more time.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. I asked specifically about the bag fees, and my understanding is they can't raise them right now because of the contract, but they did not say we won't raise them as soon as we can. So I
raised the bag. It's a board rate.
Right, but like I did not get from them, like, we're not gonna request that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was not the answer I felt we received. It was basically like, well, we can't right now. Yeah, and then the other thing I would just say about 2022 that was somewhat different is that everything was compressed. It was a very different environment in terms of like people didn't have as much trash because they weren't getting as much stuff, and like everything was depressed at that point. I think we're in a different situation right now, and like I said, again, you know, had they told me that they were going to have to lay off people or weren't profitable because of it, I might have felt differently, but they're making profits. And
Well,
seem to
how
be
would you
doing
feel if, okay, they say you don't vote for this, and say, okay, we're gonna shut the northern transfer side down to 2 days a week instead of 5?
What's in the contract? Can they do that?
I think it's not in there, they have to be open. I don't know, but.
Did you have one more point?
Yeah, I just wanted to get back to what it says right here, that Casella would have the opportunity to provide support information. I was at the meeting, Adam brought donuts. We did not get support information. We asked every department in the entire county to give excess support information. We demand prevailing wages. I think there could be a minimum amount of support to show us why this would actually hurt them and the employees that are local, which I want to support. So that's my only piece here is I'm happy to support this if there is a real need. I have not seen the need. all I have is their quarter 1 earnings so far as a group. So, and I don't have any historical precedences, right? But if I was going to support information and come to the county, if I was a department, I would bring data, I would bring a spreadsheet, I would bring a presentation and let them know why I was asking for an increase.
Well, actually, their first quarter increase thing would be up anyway, because like I said, the war didn't start when the first, at the beginning of the year, and then that's when the prices went all sky high. So
We'll see at the end of this month, quarter 2. So, they're making money.
Anyone else?
I've heard a lot of good arguments on both sides.
Yeah, me too. So,
I'm now concerned with, if you want to get down to brass tacks, we really are the only bill in town and handle what we have. Are we playing with fire?
anyone else? Representative Powers.
Yeah, in his defense, he did say everyone's familiar with the situation with fuel. And the whole world knows what's going on with fuel right now. I don't think you need to present anything more. Price of fuel is $6. It was $4. If that's what you're running on, that's quite a bite.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Frazier,
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Brockway.
Aye.
Hinchey.
No.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Mickle.
Aye.
Burley.
No.
Marietta.
Yes.
McCarty.
Aye.
Wilbur.
Aye.
Mendez.
No.
Martini.
No.
Clapperton.
No.
Basile.
No.
Resolution 242, 61 ayes, 39 no, no absent, no abstention, no vacant. 242 is adopted.
Resolution 244 in support of protecting New York State forests and wildlife and in opposition to New York State Senate Bill S 440208 May and New York State Assembly Bill A 10483 Lunsford. Powers, McCarty, Kennedy, Hinchey, Burley.
Someone-
I'm sorry. My brain was running on something else at the moment.
Yeah.
Sure. So, you heard what I said before, but in this resolution, we resolve, if you look at the end, all the resolutions are about citing renewable energy projects. This bill has nothing to do with citing renewable energy projects. It has to do with transmission, it has to do with connectivity, it has to do with a future that is electrified and less reliant on fossil fuels, which is conservation and sustainability. So I just think there's a contradiction here. Personally, having worked in conservation for a long time, this is actually a preservation mindset. And so preservation is really good and important sometimes, but we'd still be preserving the land. We'd actually potentially be creating new types of habitats in the land by making transmission lines like meadows, which have a higher biodiversity than forests. So I think it's an oversight in the support here, personally.
Is this just transmission lines, or is this the clear cutting of the forest that the state is talking about right now? Clear cutting half the Adirondacks, put in solar panels.
No, that got taken out.
Okay.
So I just looked this up on my phone. It says Assembly Bill 10483-A is New York State legislative proposal that authorizes the Department of Environmental Conservation to grant easements or agreements to renewable energy developers. These agreements permit the construction of transmission lines and infrastructure through state-owned reforestation areas to connect external green energy installations to the power grid.
So the infrastructure, what's the definition of infrastructure? That's the point.
Yeah.
Is the infrastructure actual frame of a solar farm, or is it just a transmission line going through? That's the question.
Yeah. In the language here on number 9, it says for the sole purpose of aiding in the interconnection of renewable energy installations located outside such lands and the transmission and distribution of electricity therefrom. So it's sole purpose of transmission. In this amendment, I mean, they might be going after future amendments. I understand that, but in this one, it's to try to electrify and change our reliance on fossil fuels.
So does that mean if somebody builds a solar, somebody builds a, farmer puts up a solar lease and thing. Give me an example for in Springfield, does that give the state the right to clear cut through a Glimmerglass State Park to put on to hook up to a main line?
Yes.
Yep.
Are they gonna do that?
No.
Yes.
No. All right. Well, there's no siting right now for large scale solar farms
Yeah, there could
in
be
this
tomorrow.
county. Like this county, this is really for a few specific projects that are not happening here.
Why
That's
aren't
what
they
this,
specifically mentioned?
well, because they can't specific. So they have to clear it with the environmental law. And,
Then they can tell you.
you know, there are no large transmission lines already existing in this county. You know, Megan and I talked about this. Like,
What's Marcy South?
right, but there's no siting for large projects right here right now. And anyone who is a solar developer is going to put the project right next to those. So they don't have to deal with the state.
Close as they can.
Yeah.
That seems to be the trend.
I know a year ago, they wanted to put solar panels from West Lawrence to Oneonta, both down 205 and up County Route 11. They had all these things signed with all farmers all the way around.
I mean, I don't know what's wrong with solar panels personally.
Well, they do have things like cadmium in them, well, minor things like that.
And once they run out, the company, they change ownership by the big signs. They just leave them.
I'm not sure how best to say this, but as a landowner, I can tell you that the federal government and the state government have no problem telling you what you can and cannot do. Whether it's on the riverbank, whether it's in the swamp, whether it's with cow manure, whether it's with anything. Crop spray, whatever. And just take a little bit of umbrage with the idea that they can do whatever they want to do in our county. So I don't mind sending them a message that, you know what? You come see us first before you start doing anything. That's why I'm voting for this.
Thank you, sir.
Yesterday on the internet, they were showing solar panels on the lake's ponds.
The Senate passed something, I understand.
Yes.
that you-
Well, first of all, this is
I'm
not
sorry.
even binding.
Let's, Andrew has the floor.
It's just
Andrew has the floor, please.
Yeah, I mean, I took the resolution as a resolution focused on the best interests of Otsego County. That I am in complete support of renewable energy, but I think when I think about the state forests in Otsego County, that's, you know, do we want local impact, construction impact on our state forested land? You know, it to me, there's a bigger picture policy issue here that's missing from these particular bills. You know, that you know, they're cherry picking very specific, easy to work around and sidestep local planning, local zoning. You know, that's my concern at the end of the day, and the impact on our local state-owned forests, which we've had people come and speak to us, advocate for investing in some of those state forests in the past. You know, I think those very people would be upset if there was some kind of impact on those states. And I know you're saying there's no local sited, you know, but for Otsego County, that I'm just, you know, at the end of the day, we are here to represent our constituents and Otsego County residents, right? So I'm all for the big policy picture of it, but, you know, I feel like New York State needs to maybe go back to the drawing board a little bit on this part of it. So.
Thank you. Anyone else first time comment before somebody gets a second and third chance? Sir.
Yeah, and I'll just finish that. I also support Otsego County. That state land is not owned by this county. So that is owned by the state. And also it's just I think it's literally the language of the resolution. Like there's a piece in here that is talking about not disproportionately impacting rural communities. I am so in support of that. If that was the focus of this resolution, I would be 100% yes, right? Because that is the truth of the matter. That rural communities get disproportionately affected by large scale projects. However, this is talking more about siting, and this bill has this amendment doesn't really have much to do with siting. That's mostly what I'm bringing up.
Anyone else today? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Fraser,
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Brockway,
No,
Inchi,
No,
Kennedy,
Aye.
Mickle.
Aye.
Ferliant.
Aye.
Marietta.
Yes.
McCarty.
Aye.
Wilbur.
Aye.
Mendez.
Yes.
Martini.
Aye.
Clapperton.
Yes.
Basile.
Yes.
Resolution 244, 82 ayes, 18 noes, no absent, no abstentions, no vacant. 44 is adopted. We have some, one late resolution.
Well, the link was secondary, so it's long. Because they're like crowded in there.
There is no objection.
Barney Carroll.
If there are no objections, late resolution A will be acted upon in accordance with the rules of orders. How do I do?
Did everybody have?
Everyone has the one on the
American
grant,
250, yeah.
the 250 grants.
So late A will now be 254, awarding America 250 grant funds, Kennedy, McCarty, Wilbur, Martini, Marietta, Powers.
Any discussion? Andrew, do you want to explain why we're doing this late?
Yeah, I mentioned it briefly
Okay.
during IJ, but we, this, obviously we had the 250 commission that Michelle King chairs. They had a very, I think, well put together process. The grant applicant, this money, obviously kind of a pass through, we're granting, and it came from New York State Department of Education. And they made the recommendations, came to IGA, we approved it, went to admin, and admin approved it. We unfortunately because of the transition in county admin's office, it didn't end up being included in the agenda. So here we are. We're just crossing the T's on this.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, the Springfield 4th of July Committee, thanks you.
So does the Harvard Store.
No.
If you waiting.
I'm just a representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Fraser,
Aye.
Powers.
Aye.
Brockway.
Aye.
Inchi.
yes.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Mickle.
Aye.
Ferliant.
Aye.
Marietta.
Yes.
McCarty.
Thank you. Yes.
Wilbur.
Aye.
Mendez.
Aye.
Martini.
Aye.
Clapperton.
Aye.
Basile.
Yes.
Management, resolution 254, 100 ayes, no noes, no absent, no abstentions, 254 is adopted. Andrew? You have one now, right?
See that again?
You have one, do you want to break from the
Yeah,
floor?
I do. Yeah, I think that's okay. I'm just gonna hand it out real quickly. This is on behalf of Leslie and I, and it's just in honor of the Riversound boys basketball team. Yeah, actually, just go ahead or go.
Right after you sit down, come up and hand us one, please.
Sorry.
I was gonna wait. No.
Do you want to?
Same thing.
So I need to present this first, right? I mean, not read it, but ask if I can present it.
Yes, you're supposed to.
Yes, so I'm asking if I can present it.
Thank you. If there are no objections from the floor, resolution will be acted upon in accordance with the rules of order.
So from the floor, A will be 255. Honoring the Cooperstown Central School District Boys Basketball Hawkeyes on winning the NYSPHSAA Class C State Championship. Maria Bernier.
We're gonna put a P in that, on another P in championship. right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Would you like to read it, Andrew?
Sure, yeah, I'll try to be very quick. So whereas the Cooperstown School District boys basketball Hawkeyes achieved an extraordinary historic accomplishment during the 2026 season by completing a perfect 27-0 record. And whereas under the outstanding leadership of head coach John Lambert, the Hawkeyes demonstrated exceptional skill, determination, teamwork, discipline, and sportsmanship throughout the season. And whereas the Cooperstown Hawkeyes captured the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Class C State Championship by defeating Bernie Knox Westerloo with a score of 52-43 in the championship game. And whereas the remarkable achievement marks the program's second NYSPHSAA Class C State Championship in recent years, with the Hawkeyes previously winning the title in 2019. And whereas the fifth of the team's graduating seniors, Brendan Dempsey, Ben Lewis, Christian Lawson, Miles Nealon, Cooper Coleman, Jackson Chrisman, that's a son of a local county employee. Point that out, played an integral role in the success of this championship season. And whereas the accomplishments of the Cooperstown Hawkeyes have brought great pride and distinction to the Cooperstown Central School District, their families, coaches, alumni, and the entire community, now therefore be it resolved, the Otsego County Board of Representatives hereby honors and congratulates the Cooperstown Central School District boys basketball Hawkeyes for winning the championship and completing a perfect 27-0 season, and be it further resolved that special recognition that is extended to head coach John Lambert, the assistant coaches, team staff, student athletes, graduating seniors Brendan Dempsey, Ben Lewis, Christian Lawson, Miles Nealon, Cooper Coleman, and Jackson Chrisman for their outstanding achievements and commitment to excellence. And be it further that we have copies of this resolution be transmitted to the Cooperstown Central School District boys basketball Hawkeyes and head coach John Lambert as a token of esteem and appreciation.
We need a second.
Please. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I just would like to consult with the sponsors of the bill that my town of Hardwick also is part of the district. And
Yes.
I would
You know
like
what?
to
Absolutely.
friendly ask if I could be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Babe, absolutely. I'm sorry.
Always
That's
looking for
okay.
the headline.
I don't Hardwick to think that I'm ignoring.
No, absolutely. That was our.
Yes, Kennedy needs to be on there.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's okay. I just wanted to mention. This.
Yes.
As amended.
Can we?
They just tell me. I would ask for somebody to amend it.
Can we ask for an amendment?
Motion that we amend that.
I'll second it.
Oh, do we need a vote? Just do it. Roll.
Yeah.
Roll vote. Opposed? Resolution 255 is amended. Now can we vote on it as amended? We need a second.
Seconds.
We had a second.
That's wrong.
Pardon me.
You don't.
So we're gonna have an oral vote. All those in favor of 255, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Congratulations to the team. Thank you, in Cooperstown. We have one more
Mr.
from the
Chairman,
floor.
I have
Sir.
a motion, the resolution from the floor, if you please.
Did you distribute it?
Yes,
Everyone-
it's been distributed.
If there are no objections, the floor, P will be acted upon in accordance with the rules of order.
Great.
Very good.
So this is a revision or an amendment to a current resolution. Amending resolution 210-202-60506, authorizing the county administrator.
All right, so just one second. So there's no objections. So now you get to read the title. Is that the way we're supposed to do this?
Okay.
Okay.
Then you know it's in.
Okay. It's all in the hands of the board. We're ready to do this. So now it's
So from the floor, B will now be 256, amending resolution 210 of 2026 0506, authorizing the county administrator or the chair of the board to contract with E Plus Technology Incorporated for firewall upgrade. Wilbur. Second.
Second.
second. Now you can. And this is the only thing changing.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Whereas,
So that third whereas is the only thing we changed,
correct,
correct?
the third whereas, you want me to just start there?
Okay, that's what got left out of the last month.
Yeah, so this is the change, whereas there is a need to amend resolution 210-202-60506 to include GSA contract number 47Q PCA 23D00CZ in addition to the Omnia contract above mentioned service. Now therefore be resolved that the county administrator, or if unavailable, the chair of the board, is authorized to enter into an agreement with E Plus Technology Incorporated, 13595 Jules Technology Drive, Hemden, Virginia, 20171 for upgrades to the firewall at a cost not to exceed $34,678.58 for the period of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026, and be it further resolved that said contract will contain such terms and conditions as are in the best interest of Otsego County, and be it further resolved that the funding for this expenditure is included in the 2026 Public Safety Communications Budget A3020 at line 547865, Next Gen 911 grant, utilizing 100% state.
No, we already have one. Yes.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Frazier,
Aye.
Powers,
Aye.
Brockway,
Aye.
Vinci,
Yes.
Kennedy, Mickle, Burley, Marietta,
Yes.
McCarty,
Aye.
Wilbur,
Aye.
Mendez, Martini, Clapperton, Basile.
Yes.
Resolution 256, 100 ayes, no noes, no absent, no abstentions for resolution 256 is adopted. We have no unfinished business, no special order of the day. We are going to need to go into executive session for two different reasons. I would like to take a 10-minute break or so, then come back. Not believe there's any, need to come back into general session after these executive session topics. Okay, so you go ahead and you can go next.
So is it for reason F? The medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation or matters leading to the appointment of employment.
That one, yes.
This
I think you choose. Wait, no. Sorry.
So it would be F and it would be C.
So, information relating to current or future investigation or prosecution of a criminal offense which would imperil effective law enforcement if disclosed. Those two.
And you read it.
And I didn't do.
Okay, thank you. You have a motion and a second?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're in executive session. We're going to take a 10-minute break.